Okay, so I've got three questions. The first one says, express 3000 kilobytes in megabytes. I need to know what my table says on how many kilobytes there are in a megabyte. If I go back to my table, I will find that 1000, let's do this in a nice different colour. Let's do this in blue. It will say that 1000 kilobytes is equal to 1 megabyte. So if I've got 1000 kilobytes and that's equal to 1 megabyte, well, 3000 kilobytes is, let's do it the slow way, 2000 kilobytes, and then 3000 kilobytes. So I've got, for 2000 kilobytes, it's going to be 2 megabytes. For 3000 kilobytes, it's going to be 3 megabytes. Or I could have noticed that if 1 megabyte is 1000 kilobytes, to get 3000 kilobytes, 3000 is equal to 3 times 1000. So that gives me my 3000. So all I'm doing is multiplying by 3. So in megabytes that would be 3 times 1 megabyte, which would be equal to 3 megabytes. If you're unsure about this, what you really need to do is go to Hegarty Maths and look at multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. Try not to get too confused with the units. Just know that we're multiplying by 1000 each time, or dividing by 1000 each time. Okay, second question. All my song files are 2 megabytes. How many songs could I store on an 8 gigabyte sound card? Okay, tough problem. I need to go again to my table. I need to find out how many megabytes there are in a gigabyte. So there should be 1000 megabytes in 1 gigabyte. Let's just take that in. So if I've got 8 gigabytes, if there's 1000 megabytes in 1 gigabyte, in 8 gigabytes there's got to be 8 times 1000 megabytes in 8 gigabytes. So that's going to give me a total of 8000 megabytes in 8 gigabytes. Okay, so I've got how many megabytes there are in 8 gigabytes. So I've got this size here. They're the same, but I need to now find out how many times 2 will go into 8000, and that's just a case of dividing. So if I divide 8000 megabytes, that's the divide sign, by 2, so really I'm just halving it. 8000 divided by 2 is 4000, and that is the number of songs that I can store in a 8 gig sound card. If each song is 2 megabytes, 4000 songs, that's 4000 times 2 megabytes is 8000 megabytes, and 8000 megabytes is 8 gigabytes. Express 2 petabytes in terabytes. Okay, so again going back to the table, there are 1000 terabytes in 1 petabyte. So to get 2 petabytes, I'm just multiplying this here by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. and if I multiply this by 2, I get my answer. So 2,000 terabytes in 2 petabytes. We could do it the other way around. We could do division, so find out how many sort of terabytes are in petabytes. That's a little hard for the time being. Just try to think in terms of thousands and tens. That's what we've got really. Remember, when you're doing exam questions, they won't be too difficult. They're only going to be worth what, 1 or 2 marks, probably a couple of minutes long. So the multiplication and division won't be difficult. Just have a go, try things out. What you really need to do is remember how many, well, you need to know the order of the megabytes, kilobytes, petabytes, terabytes and so on, so you know which one comes next, because each one is 1,000 times more than the previous one. Hopefully that helped. Probably didn't, but it's a worked example, so give it a go. See if you can answer the questions on the question sheet.